Welcome to the Existential Empath Podcast. My name is Tanya, and I am an intuitive empath. My intention is to share valuable tools and techniques that I have learned so you can tap into your own inner healer naturally and intuitively. Welcome back. I hope you are all doing well. In this episode, I'm going to share the different types of frequency and light holders. Some may call us light workers or star seeds. Personally, I call myself a star sprout because I feel as if I have grown a little bit out of the seed stage. And I want to preface this with I'm going to share several different types of these frequency and light holders. However, you may recognize that you mold yourself into many different categories of these different types of holders and frequencies. So I know I do. I know it's hard for me to just kind of pinpoint one of these. And I do recognize as I work on expanding my consciousness, I find that I can tap into some of these different gifts and these different abilities in each and every one of these different types of frequency and light holders. So, what is the role of the light keeper? So, the core purpose of a light keeper is to embody light, okay? And no matter what our external circumstances are that we find ourselves in, we are always maintaining a very high vibrational frequency. So, these could be your positivity pushers or those people who are always seeing the light in the dark, the people who are really holding that frequency. And that's because during chaotic times, they are the ones who are going to be shining bright. And I recognized this as a part of my aspect of self when I worked in healthcare. When things were falling apart or it was highly chaotic at the hospital, I was always able to maintain my own energy and my own frequency, kind of like an aroma candle. So to speak, I was really able to hold that. Now, not saying that I didn't lose it later on my own terms, but I was really able to hold that frequency in the moment. And this is where those light keepers really strive and really shine because they can give hope to humanity when hope feels lost. They are the ones who are, people look toward because they are the beacons. They are like the lighthouses. They are the ones who are shining brightly. And these could be our spiritual teachers, motivational speakers, our influencers, or just basically any individual who has the power to motivate and uplift people. And these are a very powerful type of light holder because they have learned how to maintain those higher frequencies. And, as an empath, this is part of our mastery and learning how to hold our frequency and to hold our light. So we really strive to be those light keepers. Another type is called the Gridworker, and I just did a podcast the other day about grid work. This is where I fall into this category very strongly. So the grid workers are those types of light workers who work on the grids and the ley lines. They might work with the pyramids. They work with the stargates. They work with the Earth's grid. And we are a kind of spatial empath, I guess, so to speak. So I can walk into a room and really feel the energy and assess it, as well as I can walk onto the land and feel if it's a denser or a lighter energy. I can tap into earthbound spirits. I can tap into different frequencies and energies. Oftentimes, I will download symbols and light codes and information. And also, I can sense portals. I can sense those types of things. Now, I can't physically see it, but I can feel it. But some grid workers can see it. And we will dive a little bit more into that type later on. And we can invoke a shift in energy on the land or in a space. So we are very, very sensitive to those types of energies. And when we tap in to those energies, we are very powerful. And detecting those heavier, denser energies, we can transmute it by providing a loving, compassionate presence by holding that frequency. And when we tag up with the light keepers, it can just be even more powerful. And so I know for me, when I really tap into the energy of the land, I can feel it with every cell of my body. And it's almost like I'm my own personal dowsing rod, a little bit, is the way I explain it. I can really sense and feel um, the earth and really anchor myself into that. So another type of frequency holder is what's called the transmuter. I also fall into this category a little bit too. So the transmuters are the frequency workers who their main work is to keep their frequencies high and transmute negative energies into more positive, lighter vibrational energies. And they can do this by releasing light. It's almost like a filtration system, is the way that I explain it. When I transmute energy, it's like I can walk into a space and feel the dense energy, and I can literally filter it through my vessel, through my body, and shift and transmute that energy into a more higher vibrational energy. Oftentimes, transmuters are born into very dysfunctional families because they signed up to cleanse the generational patterns or programs or karma, so to speak. And that's why oftentimes transmuters have a really difficult childhood. It's because they are there to cleanse, almost like the vacuums, or like like those things that are in a pool that cleanse the pool. That's what we are. We go in there and we literally clean up the space. And that can be difficult sometimes because if our body is not in tip top shape, like if we aren't cleansing ourselves physically, if we aren't cleansing ourselves emotionally and energetically, we can get bogged down. We can be like human Velcros and we can attract and attach to these denser, heavier energies if we do not learn how to allow ourselves to be a vessel or a conduit to these energies. This week, I'm going to have someone coming on my show to discuss being a transmuter. He is a transmuter. I am a transmuter, and we're going to have a conversation about it because I do feel that many of us are doing this right now. That's why we are suffering with pain in our body or emotional upset or unrest. Maybe why we're getting so sensitive to the things that are going on in the world. It's because we are transmuting the energy, not only of the collective, but also of the earth and the environments around us as well. Oftentimes, our animals, our pets, are transmuters too. You may notice if you're going through grief or a loss, your dog or your cat will lay on your lap or just come up and rub or brush up against you. It's because they are natural transmuters. They're empathic and they can sense and feel that energy, and they want to cleanse that too. I have someone coming on soon to talk about animal energy and how our animals pick up on the energy that we are working on transmuting, and then they kind of take the baton, so to speak, and start transmuting it themselves. And oftentimes that can present in sickness and illness within our animals, just as it can within inside of us. Another type of frequency holder is what's called the divine blueprint holders. And all of us have a divine blueprint, which is our template to the fully awakened, higher vibrational, higher self. And all light workers have this template built within us. However, many of us haven't activated this template. And oftentimes in my QHHT sessions, this will come up where I will go in there and their higher self, my higher self will guide us to activate these divine blueprints or these divine templates. And they can come across as looking like sacred geometry, light, color, sound. It can even be an understanding of these blueprint holders can have a deep meaningful connection with the Akashic records, and they can read those very easily. They can read people's energy very easily. They can sense auras. They can sense when there's a disharmony within the cellular structure of the body or within the DNA. These blueprint holders also are oftentimes rebuilding or creating new templates, new blueprints for us to follow. And I do feel that as we move more into the new earth template, many of these blueprinters are going to step up, and they're going to be the ones who are visualizing these new templates for us to follow, a new higher advanced matrix, so to speak. And when they step up, they're like the architects, and that is super cool. I have just started to dabble in that a little bit, but I'm not there yet. But I am recognizing it's coming up in a lot of my sessions. So I am meeting a lot of blueprinters, which is super cool. Another frequency holder is what's called the messenger. And these are light workers who get guidance from a higher source, a higher power. That could be their guides, their angels, the universe, God, source energy. They could be getting information. I look at people like Cryon or Bashar. Any of the channelers of higher vibrational energy or information, maybe even Abraham Hicks can fall into this category. These are the ones who are bringing us these messages from the higher planes, the higher realms, the higher frequencies. And they can do this through a variety of ways. They can do it through speaking, through channeling, through writing, blogging. They can do it through light language. Whether that be speaking it or using their hands or drawing it. They can even do it through art, writing books, a whole variety of ways that messengers can provide information to us, and it is coming from a higher source, from a higher realm. And oftentimes they don't even always recognize um, where it's coming from, but they do recognize it's coming from a higher vibrational frequency. Another type of frequency in light holder is what's called the healer. And, healers are endowed with unique gifts to heal humanity. And this can come across in a variety of ways. This could come through healing modalities. Many healers create their own modalities because they're guided to do so. This could come across as being healing of the hands or through light language. Through different modalities like QHHT, or I know Dr. Bradley Nelson has created the emotion code. He got that information from a higher source. These are the people on the planet who are coming here to heal, and oftentimes these are the people who can just heal by being in their presence, very similar to Jesus, just being in their presence because they hold such a high frequency. And these healers, part of their learning process is to learn how to heal themselves before they can start to teach others how to heal themselves. And when we heal ourselves, we learn how to hold that frequency. So then we naturally become the light keepers. So it's like these all just kind of mold and mesh very beautifully together once you start really recognizing where you are in the awakening process. And oftentimes the healing aspect is the first to awaken. It's like we awaken to the illusion and then we begin to realize that we need to heal. We need to do the inner work. We need to really start mending and healing some of those generational and familial patterns that no longer serve, and that we came here to break those patterns, to clear them up. And then that's where we can tap into that divine blueprint and reset that blueprint so that we are living our lives on a much higher vibrational pattern than we have done in the past, right? So when we tap into that, these healers can pull from their unique gifts, and that will uh, heal humanity because they're very sensitive, the healers. I know for me, I'm extremely clairsentient. So that basically means I can feel energies. I could be at the grocery store standing there in line, and then I feel pain in my back and I recognize that it's not mine, that it's someone around me. And so oftentimes these healers will use their unique gifts, whether that be their clairvoyance, clairsentience, their heightened intuition, or even, I've got some friends who can heal with their hands very, very powerfully. And so when we learn how to tap into these unique gifts to heal ourselves, it strengthens these gifts to be able to heal others. So many of us, I'm sure, are listening to this are healers, one way or another. There's also what are called the unifiers, and the unifiers are the light workers who find themes in things, or they find a unified vision of things. They could look at a variety of different philosophies or um, concepts and they can unify them. They can bring them together in a way that makes sense for people to understand, and they can create peace when there's a disagreement. It's almost like they are the mediators of the light workers. They are the ones who can um, listen to two different perspectives and find some sort of common ground. I always often think of the Libra when it comes into this. They are the peacemakers. So oftentimes the Libras will be the unifiers, and they can also be healers too, because when you're pulling people together to see two different perspectives on a mutual kind of platform, you're often healing people as well. You're expanding their consciousness and bringing them together in a way that maybe they weren't able to do that before. And in that process, they are releasing those denser emotions. There's also the light workers that are called the way showers or the way showers. And these are the people who often are the ones who have a difficult time being in society. They may buck the system because they don't like the way the old matrix or the old template is running. And this was me. Oh my goodness. This was me as a kid. I could never really fit in. I could never fit in because I always saw things differently. I could look ahead and I could see that this wasn't working. Why don't we fix it? Why don't we, come together collaboratively and create something better that's more efficient? And so the way showers were genuinely and authentically want to help others to find their own authenticity and vulnerability by inspiring change in a very effective and positive way. And they're very open and wanting to share their ideas, their experiences, their journey in a way that helps uplift and inspire others to do so. And so that often will it's almost like the black sheep, right? The black sheep of the family. So if you feel as if that is you, then you probably fall into this category. And I don't like to you even use the word category. I think that's kind of third dimensional, but I don't really know other word to use. But you might be a way shower. You might be the person who is almost like if you're out in the forest and you see a bunch of trails and paths, you're the one who's bushwhacking and creating a new path or a new trail to go find and explore new ways of doing things, new ways of thinking, new ways of creating. And, you might be the one who bucks the system a little bit. And that's okay because we need you. We need you out there. We need people out there who are, uh, kind of walking to the beat of their own drum. And oftentimes those are the leaders too. Those are the leaders because you're creating a new path. And it might not feel as if you're a leader in the beginning because maybe no one's following you because you are doing something different than everyone else is doing. Or, maybe you're not following the rules of society, but there's something deep inside of your soul that's telling you to create something different, to create something new. And that's why you're here. Another type of frequency in light holder is what's called the Ascension Guide. And these light workers help people overcome uh, any of the issues or concerns when it comes to the ascension process or the awakening process. And they will challenge people's perspectives and introduce them to new knowledge, the knowledge that's deeply ingrained in our subconscious not mind. Oftentimes, ascension guides will wake people up. They will turn on the switch, turn on the light within inside of you. They'll give you those aha moments. And they are the ones who are here guiding us along this journey. They are shining the light bright. They are also light keepers. They are the ones who are leading the path and guiding us to have a deeper understanding of who we are. Many of us are ascension guides. Many of us are here to awaken ourselves. And when we awaken ourselves and we follow our own true, authentic path, then we will naturally awaken others through that process. And when we do that, we light up the world. When we turn our light on, it gives other people permission to turn their light on too. And so that can also be considered a Wayshower, that can be considered a Unifier as well. So as you can see, many of these overlap. And so that's why I said it was hard to say category, because I really don't feel that we are all one specific category. We really overlap into all of these different types of frequency and light holders. Another type is what's called the seer. The seers are the clairvoyants. They're the psychics. They're the ones who can um, look out into the future and see things. Oftentimes, they will see a variety of timelines, and they have a hard time connecting with people oftentimes because they can see a multitude of timelines for people. Oftentimes, when you go to a psychic, they will do a reading. They are picking up on a specific timeline. Now, we all have free will, we all have a choice. So, if we choose to make a change based off of what that psychic says or that timeline that they see, we can shift timelines. We can walk a different path in a different direction. So the seers are the ones who can perceive things. Oftentimes they will have premonitions, or they can see auras, they can see energy, they can a seer that comes to mind is Donna Eden. Donna Eden can read people's energy. She can literally see it, and she can sense it. She can feel it. And some Nostradamus, these are some of the seers, some of the ones that are the visionaries. They can look out and see the bigger picture of things without looking at things from a very small, minimal standpoint. I think many of us are seers. Many of us can see uh, a vision of the future, whether that be a better earth for us all to live on, or just a better situation for yourself in your personal life. If you are looking out ahead and visualizing yourself living the best version of you, then you are a seer. You're also a manifester. You also fall into that category of being able to manifest things on a very deep level, because you're able to see a higher vibrational timeline in yourself. Another type of frequency holder and light holder is what's called the Astral Traveler. And this is where I definitely fit in. I know I've talked about this in several podcasts, that I love to sleep. And I think a lot of it has to do with a few things. I think because I take on so much light, I think sleeping helps me process, as well as I'm astral traveling. I have the ability to lucid dream and astral travel. And this means that I can have out of body experiences. I can voluntarily tap into the Akashic record. I can remote view. I can do a variety of things. I often do a lot of work, a lot of light work in my sleep. And that's why sometimes I wake up tired, because I've been, real busy. I've been real busy at night. And in some of my QHHT sessions with people, it's actually come up that we are working together in our dream state and in our sleep state. So many of us have these abilities to astral travel and to lucid dream. And that's where we can tap into this universal creative energy. And it is powerful when we can tap into that. And it's just so um, meaningful when we are doing the work. And I always joke, it's like, okay, I'm probably sitting on the galactic council when I'm sleeping, and I'm connecting with all of these people here that I know on the earthly plane, but I'm also connecting with them in their galactic aspects of self. And it's really funny, because oftentimes when I look at people, I will see a galactic version of themselves, and I'm like, how do I know that? How do I know what they look like? But I'm pretty much assuming that I'm probably working with them in the astral, and that's pretty powerful in itself. So I, send a lot of love out to the astral workers out there, because it's a tough job. We might be sleeping a lot, but the reality is that I don't feel rested all the time because I'm pretty busy. Another frequency holder, a light holder, is what's called a realm bridger. And I also fall into this category too. The realm bridger are going to be the ones who can very easily move in and out of frequencies. So they can go to work in the third dimension very easily, and then they can also move and shift through the fourth dimension and up to the fifth dimension. And I have the capability of doing this. I often see it happening with my clients. Like one minute I'll be working with a client who's I'm doing light language, and then the next minute I'm working with a client and we're working on some third dimensional aspects. And I can find myself very easily moving in and out of these different frequencies, dimensions, realms, realities, whatever you'd like to call them, timelines. And it can be quite draining sometimes, though. I'm not going to lie. I know oftentimes when I'm in those higher frequencies in the fifth dimension, I feel very light and airy. And then when I have to kind of drop down back into the third dimension, it's like, oh, very heavy, very, very grounding. But I get better at it. I'm getting better at it. And I think at first it was really difficult for me because it's almost like I was bridging the seen with the unseen worlds. And that can be really difficult sometimes because it's almost like you've got to check yourself, what realm am I in? What dimension, what frequency am I in? And oftentimes I will look outside or look to the sky, and that will give me a good clue or an indication. It's kind of funny. But basically, the realm bridger is, transversing different states of consciousness all the time, like just bouncing in and out. And they're bridging these ideas from subtle realities. They can often be journeyers as well. They can kind of journey off or take people on journeys. And that's what I do in my QHHT sessions. I know it's called Quantum Healing Hypnosis, but I really look at it more as a journey or a very, very deep healing meditative state. And so the realm bridging for me has gotten easier. Like I said, it used to be really difficult at first, but now I'm getting a little bit more in tuned and a little bit more consciously aware of when and how and where I'm realm bridging. Another type of frequency holder is what's called the portal keeper. And these are the people who hold the codes to these unique stargates, gateways. They can tap into mystical experiences. They can also astral travel and lucid dream. They can access past lives very easily. They can access the Akashic records very easily. They can explore different realities for different messages. So they can kind of bounce in and out. I do think that portal keepers are also very similar to the realm bridgers because they are very multidimensional in how they can go about different frequencies. They can kind of bounce in and out. They have the ability to raise and lower their vibration very, very easily. And they are very sensitive and very aware of the energies around them, and they are extremely receptive to mystical experiences. So these are going to be the people who can see into the other realms very easily, and they have no problem with that. And they can also see portals. I immediately, when I think of a portal, I think of Doctor Strange and how he opens up those portals. But these are the people who have access to seeing those, to knowing where they are, because they hold the codes. They hold those unique light codes to be able to cleanse and transmute. They're also transmuters. Those energies to cleanse the stargates, to cleanse the land, and sacred sites as well. They have the ability to go and cleanse those sacred sites. And so these were just a few of the different types of frequency and light holders. And I encourage you to share some of the other ones that maybe I didn't talk about in this show. And I want to hear, what are you experiencing? I want to learn more, and I will open it up to some comments on the podcast as well as this YouTube episode as well, because I'm just so curious. I love to hear about all the different types of frequency and light holders out there and what you're doing in the world, and how are you tapping into these energies, and how are you holding your frequency, how are you raising the vibration of yourself, humanity, the planet. What are you doing? I want to know more. I love it. I love it. And so I just love to be able to share my experiences, but it's so fun to be able to hear your experiences too. So, please share. And like I said, I want this to be a learning experience for everyone. I want it to be a place where people can connect. And, if you're a grid worker and you want to start connecting with other grid workers, then start sharing those things below in the comments so we can start connecting, because grid workers need to be together. We need to start, going to these places, these sacred sites, and bringing in the transmuters and the Lightkeepers, and and connecting with the Astral Travelers, and all of these different aspects that each and every one of us carries. It's just like a trade here in the third dimension. If you're good at accounting and someone else is good at being a contractor, then we can learn these different skills. It's just some of them we're a lot better at because we've had many, many lives to accomplish these and to get better at them. So I hope that this podcast and this show was beneficial to you, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Take care. You deserve to navigate your life as an empath in alignment with health, happiness, and abundance. To learn more about the services that I provide, including Beyond Quantum Healing Hypnosis, EFT Tapping, and the Emotion Code, visit my website at www.thesoulcafe.org.